Alright, now in this video we will discuss the idea of unit vector. Unit vector, you ask? No, okay, not this unit vector, I need vector, everybody needs vector idea. Okay, so no, not unit vector. We are going to be talking about unit vector. Okay, so what exactly is a unit vector? And eventually we're going to learn about how to use it in our other formula and everything else. Okay, so let us take an example, which is a very boring example, our example of vector A, which is the vector 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we understand from previous videos that the magnitude of A, which is representing the length of A, the vector A, is actually 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square and the square root of all these squares. Okay, and that gives us the answer of square root 14. What this means is that this vector A has got a length of square root 14. Alright, so what exactly is a unit vector? Well, a unit vector is basically the same vector, okay, but with the magnitude 1. So this vector A has a magnitude of square root 14. It is not a unit vector. So how do we then find the unit vector? Well, let us try to illustrate out, okay, what we have figured out so far. So let's say we have a vector A like this, and based on what we calculated, we understand that this vector A has got a length of square root 14. Now, square root 14 isn't a very nice number, but well, after all, it's just a number, so it is just a length of square root 14. So if I'm really interested to figure out the same vector but with 1 in length, how am I going to do it? Okay, the idea would be that, well, in this vector, I can actually chop it into square root 14 pieces. Okay, of course, square root 14 equal pieces. Of course, there isn't really square root 14 pieces here, but just for illustration's sake. Okay, so now, and therefore, each piece of this parts, okay, each part of these pieces will be a vector that is in the same direction as vector A, but magnitude 1. Alright, it will have 1 unit, it will be 1 unit in length. Okay, so this is what is known as the unit vector. Okay, now the next question that you may want to ask is then how do we find it, right? Now that we have an understanding of what unit vector is all about, well, it's basically the unit vector is the vector divided by its own length, and so that one piece of it will be 1 unit in length. Okay, so how do we find it? Well, the formula goes, before we go into the formula, there is a notation for our unit vector, and this is known as A cap. Okay, it looks like a cap, right? So it's A cap. Alright, A cap is given by this formula, which is the vector A divided by the mod of A. Okay, or it can be rewritten as 1 over the mod of A, which is a value, multiplied by the vector A. Okay, either way you look at it, it's the same thing. Well, basically what it means is that it's the same vector, it's the vector itself divided by its own length. So in this simple example, our mod A will be equal to 1 over square root 14. Okay, multiplied by the vector 1, 2, 3. So there you go. This is the unit vector of A. Alright, of course you can leave your 1 over square root 14 outside, or if you like, you can multiply in and you will look a bit like this, which I don't strongly recommend, because you do see a lot of square root 14 all over the place. Alright, it makes it look a bit messier than necessary. So, but in any case, these two vectors are the unit vector of A. Alright, so what it means is that if you were to take this square plus this square plus this square and you add all them together and you square root, you will get 1. Okay, so it's just this one part of the vector. So this is what unit vector is all about.